Shalom, Apostle Tahar coming back at you, the truth, giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rakakwadash. And I'm going to entitle this video, Covington Catholic High School and the Doctrine of Discovery. You see here a picture of a native, a Gadite. That's a clip from a video, which I will show the video after I say what I have to say through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. This is an article because they try to portray these boys in this Covington school as good, upstanding Christians or Catholics. And I have another picture I'm going to show. I'm going to put this up as well. As you can see. And yeah, I'll read this caption of this picture. You see little native boys with suits on, and Gad is known for the long hair. Anyway, it says at the bottom, it says leaders at Covington Diocese and Catholics in general are likely unfamiliar with the church's brutal history in connection with native people or peoples. Numerous news reports on the incident have failed to acknowledge it. So now I'm going to go. See, Esau took this land from Gad and Reuben by a thing called the Doctrine of Discovery. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look up Doctrine, Discovery Doctrine. If you go to Google and put Discovery Doctrine or Doctrine of Discovery, it'll take you to Wikipedia and give you some history. Okay, let me go to the history. It says the Doctrine of Discovery was promulgated, by European monarchies in order to legitimize the colonization of lands outside of Europe. So they had to come up with some a law, divine law. When they do things, they justify their actions by a law. Between the mid-15th century and the mid-20th century, this idea allowed European entities, which are Edomites, to seize lands inhabited by indigenous peoples under the guise of discovery. In 1494, the Treaty of Tordesillas declared that only non-Christian lands could be colonized under the Discovery Doctrine. In 1792, U.S. Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Jefferson, we all know about him. He had slaves, if I'm not mistaken, declared that the Doctrine of Discovery would extend from Europe to the infant U.S. government. The doctrine and its legacy continue to influence American imperialism. Look that up, American imperialism, and treatment of indigenous peoples. So you can get all the information. Okay, I'm gonna read from this article right here. If I remember, I'll put the link up in the description box. It's Rewire News or Rewire.news. And the article is, and this was put up January 25th, 2019, year of Karagma. The headline is what Covington Catholic students should know about the church's history with indigenous people. It said it's time the students who mocked and disrespected an elder of Omaha Nation learn the whole truth of this history. So the history of the Roman Catholic institution is based upon racism, through the doctrine of discovery. Anyway, I'm right here. I went a couple of paragraphs down. It says it's likely that the students have learned little about the doctrine of discovery, the papal law that permits a violence against native people who refuse to convert to Christianity. So if you didn't want to be a Christian, they made you a Christian. Their brand of Christianity, which is what I call plantation Christianity, Renaissance Christianity, which is their Christianity is based upon everything being so-called white, or the Catholic Church's role in the brutally colonizing native children in Indian boarding schools. You should look that up. And for you guys out there that is watching TV and bullshitting and not putting up videos, man, you should just leave GMS. You guys that have not grown in this thing, you should just leave GMS, all right? We don't need big numbers like IUIC. Most High's not dealing with big numbers. You guys that look at this truth like it's a chore, like the fact that you got to go out and the fact that you got to do a video, you shouldn't be. You should just be a Muslim or more or something, or follow the Kemetic nonsense. You know, we don't need people like you, man. The scriptures speak about being lukewarm. A lot of you guys, and even in New York and the other camps, you got guys that got their hands in their pocket, man. It said this may seem, I'm back in the article, this may seem like ancient history to a group of high school boys unaccustomed to examining the implications of their public actions. The Covington, and that was blatant disrespect, the little white boy, when he looked the older Gadite in the eye like that. Now, is there a law against that? No. You can disrespect people. You can open up a door and not hold the door for the next person. They're not going to arrest you for not holding the door, or even giving somebody a dirty look or smirking. There's no laws against that. They can't lock you up for smirking. But you know, that being said, he did disrespect the older Gadite with the drum. It said the Covington Catholic boys, and like I said, they're also known for painting their faces black and blackface, and painting their bodies black. So that's clearly disrespect to so-called black people. It said, however, will grow into leaders in their church and community. If when they're gonna grow with that racist spirit in them. If they are to lead the way forward, they will need to work toward a true reckoning with the church or the churches, or the church and their schools. Unsavory past. This is, after all, the context in which their actions took place. It's time they learn the whole truth of this history. Well, it's in their spirit. It's in their spirit. Now, you know what I want to do? I want to go into the papal bull. So you read about the history of the doctrine of discovery, right? Let me go into the papal bull. What was the papal bull all about? Papal bull. Papal bull. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, it says, what is the papal bull of 1493? Inter Cetera, among other works, was a papal bull issued by Pope Alexander VI of the on the 4th of May, 1493, which granted to the Catholic majesties of Ferdinand and Isabella, which was king of queen of Spain, of sovereigns or Castile, of sovereigns of Castile, all lands to the west and south of a pole-to-pole line 100 leagues west and south of any. It stops right there. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm in Wikipedia. I just want to get to the meat of it. Now I gotta go back. Okay, let me read this. Papal bull. A papal bull is a typical public decree, letters, patent, or charter issued by a pope of the Roman Catholic Church. It is named after the laden seal that was traditionally appeared to the end in order to authenticate it. You know what? I want to go more into the papal bull of the papal bull 1493. What was the papal bull of 1493? What was the doctrine of discovery? Well, we read that the papal bull basically was a decree by the Roman Catholic Church and Ferdinand and Isabella to seize all lands to the west and south of a pole-to-pole line 100 leagues west and south of any of the islands of Azores. Oh, Azores. That's the new region in the Apocrypha. What is that? Second Ezra's 13 and 40. A land where never mankind dwelt. Let me click on that. Yeah, Azores, that's like the Latin way of saying another land, another region, which is actually a Hebrew word. Okay, it says here, let me go back one more. Okay, it goes on to say, Ferdinand and Isabella as sovereigns of Castile, all lands to the west and south of pole-to-pole line 100 leagues west and south of any of the islands of the Azores or the Cape Verde Islands, which you have Israelites, you know, you got people that are called Cape Verdeans, which means I think it's Greenland. I can look it up. You can click on it. It remains unclear to the present whether the Pope was issuing a donation of sovereignty or a feudal infeudation or investiture, defining interpretations have been argued since the bull was issued, with some arguing that it was only meant to transform the possessions and occupations of land into lawful sovereignty, meaning anywhere that they go, that's their land. And if you want to be on the good side, you have to become a Christian. It said others, including the Spanish crown and conquistadors, interpreted it in the widest possible sense, deducing that it gave Spain full political sovereignty. And that sovereignty is full political sovereignty over the whole planet. It goes in the background. It says, before Christopher Columbus received report for his voyage from Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand of Spain, he had first approached King John II of Portugal. The king's scholars and navigators, blah, 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 blah. And they did this in the name of their Christianity, their Roman Catholicism, where they took the lands. I'm going to give you a couple of scriptures now. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, this is, I'll line them up. Proverbs 22 verse 28, Deuteronomy 19 verse 14, Deuteronomy 27 verse 17, and Job 24 verse 2. And I'll read them. I don't know if this is the King James. This is not the King James. I want to read them in the King James. So this is against the Most High. The Most High gave these lands to the Israelites, where they dwelt, even the land of Canaan, which is America today. Let me go to the first scripture I want to go to is Deuteronomy 32, verse 8. And then I'm going to show you the video. It says, when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. Now, what did this man do in the name of Christianity? In the name of their so-called white God? See, this Renaissance Christianity was nothing but the Roman Catholics tearing down the images, the true images of the Israelites, and putting up their image. And it started in Europe, and it was taken over here to the so-called New World. That's why all these various presidents use the term New World Order. That goes back to the Doctrine of Discovery, the Papal Bull, Christopher Columbus, King Ferdinand, and Queen Isabella, Torquemada, which tortured people if they didn't accept Christianity. And they brought that practice over here to the States. It says, Proverbs 22 verse 28, remove not the ancient landmark which thy fathers have set. And it says in Psalms 49:11, they called their land after their own names. The next scripture is Deuteronomy 19 verse 14. It says, thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance. Now, what it means by that is you have a marker where your land is. If you go over that marker, that line, you go into somebody else's land. So what Esau did was he erased that land and said that was his land. It says, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land that the Lord the Most High giveth thee to possess it. Deuteronomy 27 verse 17. Cursed be he that removeth his neighbor's landmark, and all the people shall say, so be it. And the word there is amen, but I say, so be it. This one is Job 24, verse 2. Okay, it says here, Job 24, verse 1. Why, seeing times are not hidden from the Almighty, do they that know him not see his days? It says, this whole chapter is good. It says, some remove the landmarks. They violently take away flocks and feed thereof. Yeah, this whole chapter is a good chapter. Basically gets into Esau. Here's another one. Proverbs 23 verse 10. Remove not the old landmark and enter not into the fields of the fatherless. And that's what you're guilty of, Esau. Oh, this is another good one. Exodus 23. Exodus 23 and 31. And I will set thy bound from the Red Sea even unto the sea of the Philistines, and from the desert unto the river. For I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and thou shalt drive them out before thee. So Esau took the land. Now we took land. We took the land of Canaan. We took the Canaanites' land because the Most High set us up to do so. Let's go to that. Deuteronomy. See, we're going to take possession. You know what? Let me go to Daniel. Let me go to Daniel. Daniel 7. And I'm going to start at the 18th verse. But the saints of the Most High, which are the Israelites, shall take the kingdom and possess it. We're going to take the whole world and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and forever. Now let's go to Deuteronomy 7. It says, Deuteronomy 7 verse 1, when Yahweh the Most High shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it. That's the land of Canaan, because we were in the wilderness between the Gulf of Suez and the Gulf of Akbar for 40 years. So it was time to take the land of Canaan from the Canaanites, and have cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. These are Canaanites, so-called Africans. And when the Lord thy power shall deliver thee before, shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou. This is the Lord saying. This is the Lord's decree. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. So we're not supposed to get with the Canaanites, the Hamites, which these simple ass jakes over here on this side of the world don't know what the hell's going on. They talking about that their line goes back to, to Chem or Cum. And when they say Chem, they're talking about this, the one of the sons of Noah, or Nawak. It says fourth verse, for they will turn away thy son from following me. Let me read on 5th verse. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars and break down their images and cut down their groves and burn their graven images with fire. 6th verse. For thou art an holy people unto the Most High power. The Lord thy power, or God, have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. That's racism right there. That proves that the Most High is a racist. And he told us that we're better than these other people. So now, with this man doing what he did it unjustly. Anyway, I'm going to say shalom, and I'm going to show you this video. With that, I'm going to say shalom.
I think we always wondered why did they think it was right or just to do what they did was, to take our lands and to push us off our lands and try to eliminate us as a people. And then we discovered this doctrine of discovery, and it just kind of made things understandable as to where they got their direction from.
When Columbus landed, and he went back and he reported, and they said then, the leaders, and the Vatican was the most powerful voice in the world at that time. A papal bull, 1493, 1 year later. If there are no Christian nations in this new land you have discovered, I declare those lands to be empty, terra nullius, very old Roman law that had been exercised in Africa, India, Europe. Further, if there are people there and they are not Christians, they do not have a right of title to land. They have only the right of occupancy. From our perspective, the same right as a rabbit running on the ground, or a turkey, or a deer, or a buffalo, or an Indian. They do not have a right of title to land. 1823, Supreme Court Justice John Marshall adjudicating the case, Johnson versus McIntosh. Two white men arguing over Ohio Indian land. He says, "You boys have it all wrong. Don't you understand? This was settled long ago. They don't have a right of title to land." And he moved that principle into U.S. federal law, 1823. The doctrine of discovery became the doctrine of law today. Christian doctrine, specific. Wasn't Muslim doctrine, wasn't Jewish doctrine, Christian. And it prevails. It's here. It's a reality. But most people don't understand that, and most people don't know that. We didn't even understand that on 1990, 1991, when I first really said, wow, what's the doctrine of discovery? What is that? A young man by name was Steve Newcomb said, I got something, you guys gotta see it. Came out of Peru. Came out of people down there that were really digging. It was an unspoken conspiracy by states going on all those years. Shh, don't tell the Indians. We found out anyway, eventually, finally. 2007, Oneida versus New York, court case. First notation by a Supreme Court Justice, Doctrine of Discovery. 2007. It's not alive. I think it's alive and well. 30-year court case for Onondaga Nation, dismissed out of hand. Oh, you guys were too slow, it's too late. Let's make up, new latches, we'll call it. Besides, it's disruptive to our people. That's what the justice said. It's disruptive. No discussion about our people and about justice and about what's right. The American people don't know about this. Well, it's time they learn. It's time they learn because it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us. And I would be very, very, very careful about stamping out the last place that's holding the line the hardest. Haudenosaunee Six Nation. That's holding the line the hardest. For the common good. For the good of all. For the future. That's what I have to say.